Is this on? This is working good. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today we are eat this. We are working on this bag. Um, so wait, before I get into too much of the details about that, I do want to remind everybody we are still playing the secret word game. We have a bracelet from Minute Craft as well as one of mine. All you have to do is chat, and if you happen to say the secret word, you win. It's that easy. Um, Kind of been wanting to see somebody win this. It's been quite a while. I think it was from back in April. So yeah. Anyways, this um a previous video, I think maybe live stream, I was showing you how I joined together essentially what is a bunch of double wide bracelets, and after I got them all the pieces joined together, obviously, I had to come around and then join the two ends together, and that's how I get this cylinder like this. And so that is essentially how we got to this far. So after that, I continued to just add row after row after row. And I even did this. We were off last week because Mandy had some work over in Malaysia. So while I'm in my downtime, this is what I worked on. Well, one of the things many things I worked on, but this is what I worked on, and I got it down to here. And I think it's about time that we finish this thing off, as to put like a base to it, right? Um, so I kind of wanted to show how that worked, and yeah, that's where we're at today. So there's 5 loops, and that's important. 5 loops, and each one is a double whatever, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to make 5 triangular parts down here out of this before we stitch it together. So I'm going to stick this thing in here, which just kind of makes it a little bit easier. If it'll go in. Just makes it a little bit easier to see what strings you're actually working with. Why does it not want to go in? There it goes. And we're going to prop this back up. And that way you can see what's in the front and not get the strings from the back involved. So flip this up here. I'm going to follow this line straight down. Not that I have to, but just kind of wanted to. And I'm going to take this all the way out to the edge. Again, I'm trying to make this become the triangle down. Now, there are 5 in this one, and that works out really good because if there's only 4, the problem is it doesn't make for a really nice base. Hey, Rainbow. Yes, I have a smiley face. Thanks for noticing. Mandy's not here, so it's just me, and I'm feeling a little lost. So, but I'm doing my best. I'm still jamming it. Anyways, so yeah, this is kind of just doing the same thing as all the rest of it. You know, it's just basically the 2 knots. So again, I really think this is something that maybe not a brand new person to bracelet making could do, but maybe, you know, if you've been doing some bracelets and you're kind of looking to challenge yourself, I don't think this is that far from the mark of being able to be something that a relatively newer person could do. Um, at least if you've made, you know, a double wide bracelet, then you're most of the way here. So, and I'm trying to keep this really nice and easy because I do want to see um, people be inspired by this. Yeah, she's fine. There's a girlfriend of hers had a birthday, and the girls were going out and having an afternoon tea and stuff together, and just this happens when these girls go out. They'll end up being late. She said she was going to try to be home for the live stream, but it is not. Oh, there she is. Anyway, so yeah, if you make 5 diamonds coming down and then you knot those together, it makes for a pretty decent looking base. If you try to do it with 4, just the angle that these things are in, it doesn't turn out as well. 6 works. Anything you know, above 5, I guess 5 and above makes for a decent base. But 4, for whatever reason, the angle of it and stuff, it just doesn't look as nice. I mean, that's just my personal experience. You're more than welcome to give it a try if you want to put a bunch of thread together and go for it. I mean, you'll you know, maybe you'll end up liking it. I don't know. I just I don't like how when it's just 4, I don't like how it turns out. Eh. Hey, Minute Craft made it too. Hello, hello, hello. So anyways, so yeah, once I have this diamond in, I have to then skip a space and go to the one after it. So it'll be this one over here. And essentially, I will do that all the way around this whole thing. But just 5 little diamonds. I figured I might as well save that for the video because it doesn't take very long. And I don't have something else to do after this for the video. Oh, I took away the zoomy thing. It was, I don't know. It seemed a bit extreme. Yeah, so if you're doing a flat one's a whole lot easier. You can, um, so let's say if I was going to turn this bag into a phone case, what I would probably do is bring the knots down to the bottom and just create as flat of a base as possible. Like I wouldn't tie to the 2 yellow ones or the 2 off-white ones here. I would bring it down and I would leave it with this one. So then those 2 are almost at the same level, right? Do that on both sides. Then bring the next one down to the next string and it makes it really super flat. And then that way you can knot the 2 bits together and have a real flat base to it. That's one way. Another way would be to leave it with a flatness like this and then knot up these parts together and you end up with a bit of a wavy base to it. I think I actually have 2 examples of that. So this one, it just about dropped an expensive light. So this one has sort of a bit more of a wavier base. This sort of the diamonds came down, whereas this one is almost completely flat. So those if you're just gonna do like a phone case, like mind you, this is the light I almost dropped. Um, it's the size of an older iPhone, and it's just a lighting for when I'm trying to do like cooler shots for the videos or whatever. So yeah, I just needed it to be flat, and so I just basically brought the knots down to an even point and then turned it inside out. And that's how I got that. So that might be a little bit easier than what I'm doing tonight, but I guess it's sort of a push. It's not a big deal either way. All right, so that diamond is done. So one down, four to go. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but my website, since I don't know, I think it started, my website started in 99 or 2000. Um, it has always had, when once I learned how to make the little thing that goes up on the top of the bar, the what do you call that? Like where your tabs are. So your tabs can have a little icon, right? So Facebook has a little F and whatever. Mine has always been the smiley face, and we were out getting nails done the other day. Well, my wife's getting her nails done. I was getting my toenails done, and the lady there was joking about nail polish or whatever, and I'm like, sure. So yeah. It turned out really well. I was really amazed for doing it freehand, like serious skills. Well, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I just earlier today posted a YouTube short that um, it was just basically saying that I was going to do this bag here tonight on the live stream, and it blew up with like something like 1,200 views in the first couple hours or whatever. I mean, it was it was amazing. So I kind of half expected there to be a whole bunch of people here tonight, but the numbers don't seem quite there. But whatever, it's all good. If you're new here, by the way, you're welcome. Hang out, chat, ask questions. I do the best I can to answer them. This is again, I've been using some easier patterns to do some of this stuff here lately in hopes of being able to inspire people who are kind of new to the whole friendship bracelet thing into seeing what else they can make if they want to put their mind to it, if they want to try something new and different. Because I think if I had seen this back in the 80s, I think I would have been like all about it, because like I was really like whenever somebody would be like, they wanted a wide bracelet, something, really manly or whatever, I was like, all right, because that was my chance to really show off what I was capable of. But not too many people actually want really, really wide bracelets. So if you're anxious to like really do something impressive, um, there's not a whole lot of things that you can really do, with the exception of maybe these bags. And yeah, I think I would have had made so many of these. Heck, I'm already kind of daydreaming about what the next one's going to be. So I enjoy this sort of thing. And they don't take a terrible amount of time. I mean, it's not a quick day project like a bracelet might be, but you know, with a bit of effort, you could probably get this thing done in less than a week. Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you for showing it up. Yeah, for people who've never seen my work, I'm sure that it comes as a bit of a shock. Like there's two basic responses I get when it comes to like Instagram or whatever. One is, "Holy cow, you're a guy that does this," which the variant to that is, "Oh, holy cow, there's another guy besides myself doing it," which is always cute. And then the other ones of, "Oh my God, your work is big," and so that's the basic responses that I get here lately, which is cool. I mean, I guess there is a limited number of guys that actually get into this sort of craft for whatever reason. I don't get it. It doesn't have to be a gal only thing, but just seems to be that way. Another circular handbag. Yeah, that one. See, that one takes a lot of work. And yeah, I didn't, I don't think I was really making videos back when I did that. So yeah, I could probably do that again. It's just a whole lot of work. And unless it's my wife really wants one, um, it's, it's so much work. I can't like trying to put a price on it to make it worth doing. I'm sure that I would never get it sold. So that's kind of the problem there. So I just kind of rotated around. I left this in view so that way I didn't accidentally put it in the wrong spot. And so it'll be this one. Yeah, what's his name used to talk about him, not Peter. Yeah. Um, I don't think I've seen his. I think I may have glanced his Instagram account, but yeah, that's the guy that comes to mind for me that does the bracelets, and I can never remember the name, is some guy out of Mexico who does these incredibly complex bracelets that just go madly insane. And then somehow he manages to, in the middle, turn it around and make the pattern go the other way. So they're like, there's this wonderful symmetry going on with it, while the pattern itself is absolutely mind-bendingly intense. Um, yeah, um, Rainbow was the one who looked up at this guy's name. I can't remember. I don't know what it is. Is that the one that you had found for me before? Because like, yeah, he doesn't post like he used to. But yeah, that dude. Oh my God, his works were amazing. And I'm guessing by his posts. I mean, I had to use the translate function. I'm guessing by his posts that he is not writing down the patterns as he does it, which again, that just makes it even more intense. Like it's mind bending. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that's the guy I think of. Like that's the one that you know just intense, absolutely cool stuff. Yeah, I don't know, Rainbow, how you can remember the names. I have such a problem with names. It might be my ADHD, but I have such a problem with names that like I can honestly, if somebody changes their icon of like, in Instagram or in Facebook, like the little face thing or whatever they have, I might not know it's the same person. Like I get used to looking at a thing from a person, like, and it needs to always stay the same, otherwise, yeah, I just, it kind of falls apart in my mind for me. So yeah, like I've gone through and like go back and look at like previous profile pictures, like, oh, it is that person I knew. Okay, yeah. But yeah, it takes a long time for the new one to like become a solid thing for me. It's weird. That's why if you actually follow me on Facebook, you'll notice like I don't change my profile picture, because I figure if anybody else is like me, like it just makes it a little bit easier. I do temporary ones, but I keep the basic one always the same. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, where I it again, I would never have remembered the name. Like I tried doing searches, I tried, and the tough thing is like with when it comes to art and stuff, like what words do you use to search to find like that kind of thing? Like that's just, yeah, intensely difficult. So with this, I could do this a couple different ways, and I'll kind of try to describe what the difference would be and why I'm going to go with the way I'm going with. Um, I could take what is essentially the second lightest color, which is this one, and bring it all the way down to close off the rest of this diamond here, right? But I'm not going to, because when I actually seal this whole thing together, you would end up with the two lines being exactly, coming into together, um, as it's all knotted up. And it's a look. I mean, you know, if you're going to try different things, that might be something you could try. Um, Not as fond of that look, and you'll see from the way I'm doing this, I'm kind of leaving it in a way that, you could just kind of see the best of both worlds. Is when I knot these things together, this off-white here is going to be joined, and then the bottom part down here is going to be like this wavy line star thing that goes on to that completes it. So um, you'll get to kind of see the effect of what would happen if I had brought the other one down for a full row. But it's not as cool, I think, personally. I mean, again, a lot of like the little finer decisions in this kind of stuff really comes down to my own personal preference. Um, and I don't like to. I Part of the bracelet community likes to talk about things like this is the way it's done, and they're really um, aggressive in the wording of how something happens, and I'm opposed to that, because if you talk like that, you make it sound like there's no other way, and I know that there's another way. I can do other ways. So I like to try to teach what all the different possible ways are, and then let you guys choose. And I can like to explain why I choose what I do, because maybe that'll make sense to you. Maybe you're like, agree with that or whatever. Or maybe you'll automatically take the opposite and be like, nope, I'm going to make and do it my own way, which is cool. I mean, I hope to inspire, not necessarily, you know, I don't know. So yeah, now I'm going to join all the little triangles here shortly. We are getting ever so close to the end of this part. I did a pretty big bag like this before. Um, it wasn't quite rainbowy colors, but it was pretty bright. Whatever. I ended up trading it for some glass, um, like blown glass charm things. So that was pretty neat. I like bartering. It's fun. So once I get done making all these little diamond bits come down the end, I have the joyous task of trying to turn this thing inside out. And of course, you can't really rehearse that, you know. At least I didn't try. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't make me insane. I really have to say I like the colors combination on this. I love how it goes through the colors really nicely. I think this is a really good one. I have no idea what I should price it at in my shop. Because it really is a lot of string and a lot of work. So it should be like a pretty reasonable amount, I would think. But at the same time, it's friendship bracelet stuff and nobody spends a fortune on it. So I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, we went to Malaysia last week and that was pretty cool. Um, didn't have like the fanciest of accommodations or whatever, but I got to go swimming, got to check out the beach nice and early in the morning, which is kind of fun. I have to admit though, it's good to be back. I kind of I maybe it's just from where I was staying. I kind of missed a lot of the food that we have here. So not to say not that the food was necessarily bad. There was just limited options. So yeah, and it's so funny because like you could, if you're new to making bracelets, just a candy stripe, right? What's a fair price? Knowing full well that out there there's some 14-year-olds or 12-year-olds making them up and selling them for $1. And it's like, and it doesn't matter how long it took you to make it. Somebody else is just doing it for next to nothing. Back in the 80s, back when I was first doing this, a friend of mine was explaining to me how he would go down to Guatemala and he would take with him, a few $100s, and he was buying bracelets like something this big, right? He was buying these things for like maybe 25 cents a piece, and he was bringing them back up here and following the band the Grateful Dead and and selling these bracelets for something like that. He might get $15-20 for it, and because all that profit or whatever, it basically paid for him to have tickets to the show and travel the country and doing okay. He wasn't starving or anything. So yeah, that's how he did it. And it shocked me to hear that the bracelets would be that cheap. But he said that down there, a US dollar could buy a week's worth of groceries. So these people, it was worth it to them or whatever. But yeah. And anybody that's wondering, that bracelet that I pointed at, that was made by Rainbow Haze. So hit her up, demand that, you buy some from her, and that she's got to open her shop or something. Yeah, back then, yeah, it was pre Instagram days. That was pre internet days. Um, and I think the crowd that was buying those kind of bracelets were using it as a sobriety test. If they look down at their wrist and the whole thing starts wiggling and doing stuff, yeah, you knew you knew you were no longer sober. Not gonna say what necessarily they ingested, but not sober. So yeah, on top of the fact that I need to turn this thing out inside out, I was planning on trying to do that on the camera where you guys can see me, which is going to add a degree of difficulty. So yeah, I'm very anxious about the step that comes next. Yeah, you gals are really great when it comes to knot consistencies and turning out some nice work. So yeah. Oh, and Rainbow, I have put this bracelet here that Mandy made for me or bought for me back before I even came to Singapore. She bought me this thing, and it is keeping your bracelet from going over top of the others. So I got it figured out. Had to put a little barricade to keep from the overlap. Yeah, if you guys are new, whoever's watching this, if anybody's new to the channel, um, some of these discussions go back to like earlier live streams or most likely live stream. So yeah, um, you stick with us long enough, you'll get all the little inside stories and whatnots. Yeah, it's it's a serious barricade to keep it from being aggressive and covering up the other ones. So yeah. I'm kind of bummed. Like when I tried to use chopstick with one of the bracelets, it left a stain. And then my clips are leaving marks on these boards. I'm going to have to get some white paint, I think, to get my boards white again. Yes, random strangers, do join the chat. Try to win. I have I have other bracelets. I worked on an image graphic earlier that's like the old as seen on TV image that I plan on using for some of the bracelets that were made here on the YouTube, so that that might be kind of fun to actually have one that was actually made, you know, whatever. So yeah, I have ideas for what the other prizes will be. I just need to get this one done. Helena, hello. Yes, chat and win. Oh, shoot. I almost forgot. So because I was gone last week, I need to do this. Ready? Okay, it's time once again to find out who our lucky Patreon winner will be. Let's spin the wheel and find out. Hey, it's BZ Nights again. Okay. And let's find out what he has won. Ooh, that's really close to the line. Oh, all right. It's the bright one. Okay, let's get that out to him. Okay, so yeah, BZ Nights wins a kind of wide, bright yellow one. I think it's fluorescent, if I'm not mistaken, but that's kind of cool. But yeah, good for him. All right, so that was, I'm pretty sure the last one, right? Double check. Yep. So now I've done every other diamond, right? So it kind of coincides with the 5 of these, and I got 5 of those. So I no longer need the card that separates the string. And we can lay down the board. And I have some clips down in here that you can tell this was not rehearsed. Okay, there we go. Now the board's flatter, at least. So now I need to turn this thing inside out. So and this is probably about the time I'm going to get my strings in a bunch, because there's no super easy way of doing this. Right there. Kind of take a look on the inside, and that's all the strings. And not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right. Shift this down a little bit closer. And so I'm going to take the group that I'm working on and try to separate it from the rest of everything, just to make it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to try to shape it together how I want it. Are you guys going to be able to see this? Maybe I can put this up just a little bit. All right. And so now I believe this is a square knot or a reef knot. I just take and tie these together. And this part is pretty tedious, and it really is probably my least favorite part of the whole thing. In fact, whenever given the chance, I try to talk Mandy into doing it for me. She doesn't seem to mind this part so much. Now, when you're doing this with something that's like way crazy number of colors, like the bucket bag, which is that this one? Yeah, doing this one is a lot harder because here I know that I'm on the right string because there is a color sequence and both colors are the same. So that this is a whole lot easier than something that's completely random. So if you're wanting to try to keep these things easy, that's one way. And just going down the whole set. Yeah, I was going to do this. And another thing I like to do with this, so these nuts here really hold everything together. What I like to do is I like to tie all of the middle ones, like at least like 2-3 rows worth of middle ones all together at the very, very end. Like they'll get the same treatment as this, but then I tie that group together is in one great big knot. And my rationality there is the center is the area that's going to be take the bulk of the weight more repetitively. So putting it in one great big knot helps to assure that it's going to hold up really well in everyday kind of usages. So, because I worry about kind of stuff like that. Like, yeah. So, managed to do this whole segment without too much trouble. String was not in a bunch. Yay. So like I said, this is like a square knot or a reef knot. Depends on who you ask. I think if you look them up on the internet, it kind of comes up the same. So now all these strands here, so I left off these three, right? All these strands here can be trimmed right off. And now, give it a bit of a rotate. Put those off to the side. And this is the next group. And again, I just kind of try to shape it together so the things come together as it should. Divvy up both sides. And this is really all there is to it. I mean, it's a little tedious. But then again, so is making all the rest of it could be considered a little tedious, so it's not that bad. And I like to try to put these in just really, really tight because, you know, I want it to cinch it together as well as hold up for any kind of abuse that the person might put the bag through. Yeah, when you go straight across, you can basically um, tie bigger knots into the group. So like if it's a flat one like this, but you're really concerned about how that joining goes, every 4 or 5 whatever, you can put a knot. It's gonna on the inside not let the phone go all the way down to the bottom, but it would definitely be like a little bit. I can't say it's necessarily more secure. I mean, I guess it should be, right? Um, it's definitely will help you sleep better at night, knowing that those extra knots are there. Yeah, that is a legit thing. So when we typically tie knots in our bracelets, we may do them tight. When we do these, we obviously are trying to make them even tighter still. And yeah, there is a thing about using different muscles that you're not accustomed to, as well as where the strings are when you're pulling it tight. It can leave um, I've given myself blisters from this portion. Um, so yeah, that is a legit concern that doing this is a bit hard on the hands. And again, mind you, I'm trying to make sure that I get it cinched together really, really tight because these knots are visible on the other side. So if you don't get them super tight, it will not look good. So I left off the 3 again. Just snip that right off. So yeah, it is a little tedious, but I mean, I tied all these other knots, you know, how is that not tedious? It's just different kinds of knots. So 2 down, 3 to go. Oh, Patreon people. Hang on, let me hit the Patreon button here. So because of last week's outing, the Patreon hangout will be tomorrow. And while doing a bunch of cleaning, I just found a bottle of wine that probably needs to get drunk. And since my wife will only barely have a little teeny glass, um, I might be a little bit sillier than normal. So that should be fun. Unless, of course, the wine is completely ruined, which that could be a possibility too. It's been sitting in a cupboard for quite some time, not kept to any kind of temperature differences or any of the things that you're supposed to do to keep wine. Just leaving room for some disclaimers there in case it's totally ruined. So now, as having those other 2 segments done, the whole bottom of this thing is starting to take a little bit of shape. And it's kind of a little bit more effort needed to get the thing to be in the shape that it's supposed to be, I guess. So yeah, just so you know, it has its own little challenges. Cool. Yeah, right. The worst case scenario, I end up with something like vinegar. And yeah, Rainbow, I hope you make it and we'll toast to you until I'm toasted. See if I clip this up here. Just a bit better lighting. That seems to be a big problem for me these days. If the lighting isn't very good, I really struggle to see what I'm doing. That was one of the things while I was doing knots in Malaysia was I could only do it in the daytime with the curtains drawn and the sunlight coming in. The room itself did not have any really like good reading lights or anything, so it was kind of limited as to how much I could do. Mind you, I was supposed to be like enjoying a holiday. So why was I so obsessed with tying knots? I have no idea. Just part of my comforts, I guess. So these are the three. So let's just cut this first. And I'll tie the other three. I also don't cut it right down at the end of it. Um, my rationality there is that it makes it easier for the knot to come undone, and I don't want that. And so ending up with a little frilly bottom of your bag thing is better than having a hole in the bag. So yeah, yeah. I'm kind of in that same kind of boat. Like it's just better to stay home and do my thing, and all my stuff that I like is here anyways. But Mandy had a work thing, and then we tried to make it into a nice getaway thing for us. So yeah, I'm terrible at those kind of things. I don't know that I've always been that way, but definitely. Well, mind you too, I've been going through some changes of my medication for ADHD, and that wasn't exactly going very well for me. The medication that they gave me was supposed to be this. It'll be awesome. You only have to take it once a day, and it'll automatically time release, and so you just take it first thing in the morning, and then it'll release throughout the day, and you'll feel great, and everything will be coming up roses. The worst part was it would occasionally kick in the middle of the night. So 2 in the morning or whatever, I would suddenly wake up and feel like I just drank like 5 cups of coffee, and you know absolutely just ruining my sleep. And then the medication itself makes it so that way, so you had a terrible night's sleep, maybe you could take a nap. Nope, nope, there'll be none of that. You can't get any rest, and you haven't had any sleep. So yeah, it was pretty rough. I'm back on my old meds, only because I had some left over and decided that I couldn't do the other thing. I have no idea what the doctor's going to say when I tell her what I've done. Hopefully, she'll be cool with it and just give me the same old meds again. But mind you, the whole reason we changed it was because the old meds weren't having as much of an effect. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. But yeah, of all times and places to end up having issues with meds, I'm away from home, and it's supposed to be relaxing or whatever. So yeah, That didn't turn out as planned. Yeah. Oh, night minute craft. I always want to say minute. It really bothers me that those two words are the same. Almost to the end of this. Oh, so long-time viewers may know that I used to have a betta fish, the Siamese fighting fish. Used to have one of those right next to me here in the office. Well, Mr. Reddington had passed away a couple, I don't know, month or so ago. And I now have what was we bought some feeder fish for the angels for while we were on holiday, and I saved one of them, and it's over here beside me just going absolutely bonkers. It just wants food all the time, and it's constantly in a state of trying to get my attention. It's really cute. It's black. I think it's a platy, a sword, or possibly just a really, really young molly. But whatever. It's just this little fish, and it's for whatever reason it recognizes that I'm the giver of the food and gets all excited when it sees me. Now, mind you, the angels, which are these great big fish, they they too know that I give them food, but whenever I approach the tank, they freak out. They're like, maybe today's the day he's going to eat us. We can't trust him. He's only giving us food every single day, but you know, totally cowarding away. And they're like, I don't know, 50 times bigger than what this little guy is. So why the little fish are like less intimidated, I can't even begin to explain. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, cute little dude. He's off in the corner of my eye. It's super distracting the way he's just like going at the glass, trying to get up in there and trying to get my attention. Right. Well, Mr. Reddington got the name Reddington because Mandy was watching a show on Netflix, I think. I think it was Netflix. And the guy was like a murderous type dude or whatever. And that fish, we had um, shrimp in there to keep him company. So it was supposed to be the fish as well as some shrimp. And he murdered all the shrimp. Like wasn't even try like wanting to eat them, just wanted to murder everything else. Last one. Yeah. Well, the bonus of fish over cats and dogs is they don't wake you up ever. They don't care about, going out for the toilet or anything else. Um, they don't freak out if you go away on a holiday other than wanting some food, which is why we bought the feeder fish, was that the angels would be able to pick at them. Which, for some odd reason, like when we first got the angels, they killed off, ate all of the guppies we had. So figured, okay, we're going on a holiday, we'll get them more guppies, and the pet store basically had this assorted grouping of mixed small fish like guppies. We come back from a holiday and there's still most of the feeders left in there. Like they have somehow decided they'd much rather just have fish food than to eat the live ones. So now there's just more mouths to feed. Um, yeah, it's just weird. Fish are weird, but they're so much easier to care for. Yeah, they don't pee in your shoes. They don't chew up your shoes. They don't have, anxiety issues. Well, no, my angels definitely have anxiety issues. They just, there's nothing I can do about it, and they really don't care. Not a big fan of fish that eat other fish, but I don't know. And it bothers me that they're called angels when they do eat other fish. Like, what kind of angel is like that? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, for having had 1,200 views earlier, I honestly believed that we were going to have a whole bunch of new viewers, but oh, and Helena, I loved the flowers and stuff you've been working on here lately. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, the other thing about fish I like is the fact that there's a bit of this underwater garden thing that goes on. So you can put plants in there. And as long as you keep water in the fish tank, the plants are just going to be there. So yeah, that's sort of fun. I really like that aspect as well. Of course, you have to worry about getting fish that won't eat your plants, like, or dig up. dig up the plants. Like goldfish are notorious for like digging up, uprooting the plants and stuff. So you have to avoid them. But yeah. Okay. So how I do the middle one is I like to just kind of give it a little twist. Kind of create a loop with my fingers. Pull this through the loop. And then work it down as close to the bottom of the bag as possible. So it's pretty big honking knot, but yeah. And then just like to try to take the strands and kind of make sure that it's as tight as it can be. So let's set this flat again. And so you can like just take a couple strands, pull it, grab a couple more, pull them, and it'll just make sure that that's in there super, super tight. Again, it's probably overkill, but if it helps to assure that the bag is 100% going to stay together, then it's worth it, I think. And the fact that as I'm doing like pulling out a couple strands and doing this, the fact that they're actually, you know, I can feel it moving from within the knot tells me that the knot wasn't as tight as it could be, which just helps to prove the fact that this is necessary. I have no idea if the board knocking around here is making a lot of noise for you guys or not, but if it is, I apologize. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we can't earn a good living doing what we love, that people for whatever reason don't want to pay for good quality art. It's kind of why I took to making the pillows, is if I can't sell it, I'm at least going to do some cool stuff for myself or around my own home. Yeah. Yeah, when I see like friendship bracelets, quotes, friendship bracelets being sold like through Instagram or whatever else, where they have um, basically a bit of string and 2 beads on it, or a bit of leather with a couple beads on it. And it's like, yeah, they want $30, $40. Like, what? Wait, that how are you guys fetching $40 to put 2 beads on a piece of string? That just doesn't, it doesn't make sense. All right, now to see what we got here. This is slightly easier to put it back the right way because you don't have to pull all the strings through, but at the same time, it's work. So there you have it. So this is what I was talking about, where the white runs alongside of the white. Like we could have actually had this other color here come all the way down and it would have done this. But I like how this makes like this starburst thing where the rows are. And yeah, that's it. Now, the only thing left to do is we have this really amazing kumi that Mandy made. Just string this through here. So I'm really fussy about like I always want my things going through the same way. I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to putting it in here, I'm like super cautious. Like it seems like I have to have a method or a thought behind every way, but yeah, so they all go in the same direction. And now for the end, I'll just like to kind of bring it around and through. And I try to, as I tighten this up, I try to make sure that I get the shape just the way I like it. And let's bring that over that. So you can see kind of the way I bring that together. It looks pretty awesome. And there we have it. The bag is done. And that is the base. So hopefully this has inspired somebody that maybe was on the fence and wasn't sure about whether or not they wanted to make something big, and now they've seen this and they see that it's fun. I love the way the bag comes together at the top too. It's got a kind of a nice, fun, clean look. So yeah. So hopefully you guys were inspired. I know that I've had fun making it, and that I will be making, probably setting up to do some more. The big blue pillow, that thing is now, I think I'm at like 13.5 inches out of 18. So that's coming along. I might work on that next week. I don't know. I don't have anything scheduled. So yeah. I guess this is it. So yeah, before I go, I want to thank my, whoa, why is, hang on. Why is my thing not working? Oh, I see. I want to thank my Patreon supporters for helping to keep the channel alive and helping me to keep the website going. So yeah, thank you guys very much for that. I will be back again next week with more fun stuff. And yeah, oh, and don't forget tomorrow. Oh, I gotta make, all right, tonight I'll put up on Patreon the link for tomorrow's hangout. because I only just thought of that just now. So I will do that here tonight. And yeah, as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.